Hello students, I am VLN Swarupini, lecturer in biochemistry from Sri Venkateswara College of Arts and Sciences, which is affiliated to Adhikavi Nannaya University, Rajahmundry. Today, I would like to explain about replication topic, and this particular topic is in the sixth paper for the fifth semester students, that is third BSc biochemistry students. Okay, so from the sixth paper we are going to see about the topic replication from the unit 1. Okay, so in the previous class we discussed about what is gene and DNA as genetic material and experimental proofs for that topic. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is replication. Okay, basically this replication is meant for the multiplication of the genetic material. Okay, this is the process by which our genetic material, that is DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, will get multiplied in our body by this process. Okay, so let's see the topic. The genetic material must produce a large number of copies of itself during the life cycle of an organism. That is, it must undergo replication. That means to produce a large number of copies of DNA throughout the life of an organism, it should undergo replication process to produce large number of copies of genetic material. Okay, after DNA replication, DNA undergoes transcription and translation to form different types of proteins. That means after DNA replication, we'll see the transcription process from which the replicated DNA will be transcribed to mRNA, and that particular mRNA is translated to different kinds of proteins. Okay, replication along with transcription and translation is called central dogma of life. Okay, this process, replication, transcription and translation, these three topics are together called as central dogma of life, whereas transcription and translation, these two topics are called as central dogma of molecular biology. Okay, don't get confused with these two terms. That is, central dogma of life means from replication, transcription and translation, these three processes are considered as central dogma of life, whereas transcription and translation, we call them together as protein synthesis, and also we consider them as central dogma of molecular biology. Okay, and we have different types of replication processes, different types of replications, and let's see about them. Okay, DNA replication. There are three kinds of or three models of DNA replication, like dispersive, conservative and semi-conservative, of which semi-conservative model of DNA replication is most accepted model of replication. So firstly, let's see about this. What are these models? First, dispersive. Dispersive, this is the, in this particular replication, the parent DNA molecule is broken into several pieces, and new molecules will consist of both old and newly synthesized segments. Okay, that means a parent DNA molecule will be broken into small pieces and fragments, and the new synthesizer segment, that means DNA means it is a double stranded one. Double stranded helical DNA will be the first parent DNA molecule of which this DNA molecule is broken into small pieces, and after replication we'll have two DNA molecules. That means finally four strands will be synthesized, and that four strands will be consist of both parent and newly synthesized DNA molecules in fragments. Okay, so actually these dispersive, conservative or semi-conservative, these three models are the replication models which were explained before proper identification of the DNA process. That means there are different scientists who assumed these models for the mechanism of DNA replication. Okay, so finally semi-conservative model was most approved. Okay, if you see the diagram of dispersive mode of replication, you can understand. This is the parent DNA molecule. It is a double-stranded helical structure, and after replication, two daughter DNA sequences were produced. Here, if you see the color differentiation, blue color represents the parent DNA fragment, whereas the red or the orange one will represent the newly formed DNA segment. Okay, so this is the dispersive mode of DNA replication. And further, if these two daughter DNA molecules get replicated, again another two DNA molecules from each newly synthesized daughter DNA fragment will be produced. Okay, here also there will be presence of old DNA fragment and newly synthesized DNA fragment. This is how a dispersive model of DNA replication is explained. Okay, and the next one is conservative model of DNA replication. Here the two old strands would be present in one daughter molecule, while the two newly produced strands would form the second daughter molecule. Okay, that means a parent DNA molecule is undergoing replication process. Finally, it will produce two daughter DNA sequences, and from one daughter sequence there will be DNA single stranded DNAs from parent, and newly formed DNA fragments will DNA sequence will be in the second one. If you see the diagram, you can understand. This blue color represents parent DNA molecule or parent DNA sequence, and here it gets replicated to form another newly synthesized DNA sequences. Here the first DNA sequence or the first daughter DNA will consist of segment from the parent. Okay, whereas both the segments were from the parent, and the second daughter DNA daughter molecule consists of two fragments which are newly synthesized. Okay, and further replication, if you see, only one daughter DNA which will have complete new fragments will be seen, that is from the second daughter one, And the other dotted molecules, what will be having? One will consist of purely of the second generation and two will be from the first generation, that is the first parent DNA segment. Okay. So this is about conservative model. That means complete, either it might be complete newly formed DNA fragment will be there or complete parent DNA segment will be formed. Okay, this is about conservative mode of replication. And the last model, which is important one, is semi-conservative. Each daughter DNA molecule consists of one old and one new strand. All the available evidences clearly indicates that DNA replication is semi-conservative model. That means here semi-conservative means after DNA replication from the parent DNA segment, there will be formation or there will be synthesis of two daughter DNA molecules. Okay, and each DNA molecule will have one segment from the parent DNA molecule and one segment from the newly synthesized one. Okay, and this is the most accepted model of DNA replication, and many researchers done in this DNA replication, they indicated this semi-conservative model of replication is the replication carried by our genetic material. In semi-conservative DNA replication, each newly synthesized strand of DNA remains associated with the old strand against which it was synthesized. That means, if you take a replication process, firstly, parent DNA molecule will have one sense strand and one antisense strand, and only one strand is replicated to form a new DNA segment. Okay, that's why here what will happen? Newly synthesized strand of DNA remains associated with the old strand against which it was synthesized. Okay, and the DNA molecule that undergoes replication may be termed as parent molecule or template molecule, while the molecule produced by replication may be called progeny molecule or daughter molecule. Okay, here DNA segment or the DNA strand which is undergoing replication is termed as parent molecule or template molecule, or we can simply call it as parent strand or template strand, while the molecule or while the segment produced is by this replication is called as progeny strand or daughter strand. Okay, here this model of DNA replication has few features. Let's see about this. Main features of model of DNA replication: progressive separation of two strands of DNA molecules undergo in replication. That means, firstly, prior to the starting of the initiation stage of the replication, what will happen? The DNA, double-stranded DNA molecule, which is helical in structure, that means both the strands are bound to each other in a helical manner. So, this helical arrangement of DNA should be separated, and DNA, both the DNA strands should be separated. Okay, that means firstly, for the DNA replication process, separation of the two strands of the parent DNA molecule will be seen, and complementary base pairing of bases located in the single stranded regions they produce with the appropriate free deoxyribonucleotide. Here complementary base pairing means nothing but the strand which is going to be replicated will have few sequences. Okay, sequences like adenine, guanine, cytosine, like this. Okay, these are the deoxyribonucleotides will be free deoxyribonucleotides will be arranged based on this complementary base pairing. That means adenine always binds with thymine. Okay, we discussed this topic in our first semester about this complementary base pairing. Once refer that topic if you have any doubt. Okay, adenine will bound to the thymine, and in the same manner all the bases will contain complementary base pairing. Based on this complementary base pairing, the bases which are present on the template strand, free deoxyribonucleotides will be arranged based on the bases present on the template strand. That base will have complementary base pairing with free deoxyribonucleotides. Okay. Formation of phosphodiester linkages between the neighboring deoxyribonucleotides that have been paired with the single strand, thereby producing a new strand. That means after arrangement of this free deoxyribonucleotides, there should be formation of phosphodiester linkages between the each free deoxyribonucleotide. Okay, because of the for the further formation of the proper segment or proper DNA strand, here phosphodiester linkages should be produced between the each free deoxyribonucleotide, and finally a single stranded DNA will be produced. We call it as new strand. Okay, and this ensures that the base sequence of the new strands are strictly complementary to those of the old strands. That means these new strands are complementary to the old strands. That means based on the base pairing from the old strand only, new strand will be synthesized. Each DNA molecule produced by replication has one old and one new strand. Clearly, the old strand of DNA molecules serve as templates for the synthesis of new strands. That means after replication process, two daughter DNAs will be produced, and each will contain one parent DNA segment or one parent DNA strand and one new synthesized strand. Like this, two DNA molecules will be produced. So finally our DNA replication will be done with two daughter DNA fragments. Here if you see the diagram, here black color represents parent DNA and two daughter molecules are produced, each with one parent DNA and one newly synthesized DNA. And again these newly synthesized daughter cells undergo again another replication process. Finally they again form one parental and one newly synthesized form. So daughter DNA with one parent copy and one newly synthesized copy are finally occurred. So this is the semi-conservative model, and as I told, the semi-conservative model is the most accepted model of replication. And how semi-conservative model is accepted as the replication model, let's see the experimental proof for semi-conservative model. Let's see the experimental proof for the semi-conservative model. The evidence for semi-conservative replication of DNA was first presented by scientists Michelson and Stahl in year 1958. That means scientists Michelson and Stahl together done this experiment in the year 1958. And for this, what they did is the grow E. coli bacteria on N15, which is a heavy isotope of N14, so that the nitrogen present in DNA having N15 has a detectable higher density than that of having N14. Therefore, they are called heavy and light DNA respectively. That means these scientists, what they did is they have grown E. coli bacteria in media, artificial media, which contain N50 radioisotope. And this N15 radioisotope is a heavy isotope of N14. So this is the heavy isotope of N14. And why N15 is taken? Because this N15 can be easily detected due to its higher density, and DNA can easily absorb this N15 and that can be easily identified. Okay, and N15 will be regarded as heavy and N14 regarded as light. That means DNA which is labeled with N15 is called as heavy DNA, and which is labeled with N14 is called as light DNA respectively. Heavy and light DNA can be readily separated through equilibrium density gradient centrifugation, and they form distinct bands in the centrifuge tubes. Okay, centrifugation, as we all know, this is a technique which undergoes under centrifugal field, and this particular DNA sample which is labeled with or which is grown in the bacteria artificial media, which also contain radioisotopes, and this radioisotopes will be absorbed by these bacteria which is growing in that media, and finally these bacterial colonies will be isolated from that media, and these particular bacterial cultures will be centrifuged. And here centrifugation, there are different kinds of centrifugation methods, but here they have taken this density gradient centrifugation. So here the scientists Michelson and Stahl, what they did, they have taken E. coli cultures, and they grown these E. coli cultures in the artificial bacterial medium which contains N15 and N14 isotopes, and after certain period of time, what they did, they isolated these bacterial cultures which will absorb these radioisotopes, and what they did, they centrifuged these particular bacterial cultures with density gradient centrifugation. Okay, here density gradient centrifugation is nothing but this is a type of centrifugation method which will centrifuge based on the density gradient. Okay, based on the density gradient it will get centrifuged. Okay, in density gradient centrifugation, heavy salt CaCl2, okay, heavy salt CaCl2 is centrifuged at high speed. That means here heavy salt CaCl2 is also used for this centrifugation process, and here this sample is centrifuged at very high speed, that is 30,000 to 50,000 rpm is the range for this particular sample centrifugation, and time for the centrifugation is 40 to 72 hours. Okay, that means for 40 to 72 hours this particular sample is centrifuged at from 30,000 to 50,000 rpm. This leads to formation of a linear gradient of increasing density from the top to the bottom of the centrifugation tube. That means here what will happen? Density gradients, that means gradients will be formed from higher density, lower density, okay, from top to bottom, okay, based on the density, increasing density, there will be formation of different bands from top to bottom of the centrifugation tube. When molecules with small differences in density are now centrifuged in this solution, they form separate bands. Michelson and Stahl transferred the E. coli cells grown on N15 medium to a medium containing N14. Again, E. coli cells are retransferred to N14 medium. Every generation is observed individually using density gradient centrifugation. Okay. So what happens here? Firstly, Michelson and Stahl grown E. coli in the N15 medium, and after this N15 medium growth, they transfer this to the N14 medium, and again each generation is individually centrifuged with density gradient centrifugation. If you see the diagram, you will get a clear identification. Here first F0 generation, that is the first bacterial colonies which are taken are considered as F0 generation, and will take bacteria growing in a medium containing heavy isotope, that is N15. So if you see the DNA bands in the red color, these are labeled with N15 as these are grown in the N15 media. So this N15 medium in which this bacteria is grown is considered as F0 generation. And after 20 minutes of time, here very less time is sufficient, as bacterial growth is growth and division is very fast here. After 20 minutes of growth of this bacteria in N15 media, will take the F1 generation. That means F0 generation will produce F1 generation by rapid cell division. Okay. Now what will happen? This generation is transferred to N14 isotope media. Okay, bacteria from N15 isotope transferred into the media containing N14 isotope. Okay, so F0 generation is converted into F1 generation in this N14 isotope containing media, and after 20 minutes of time, here N15 is labeled with red color and N14 is labeled with blue color. And in the next generation, what will happen? Again, F2 generation will produced after N14 isotope medium growth, and we'll see here after replication F2 generation will be produced, and here we can see parent DNA molecule, newly synthesized strand which is labeled with N14, and finally F2 generation with N14 label. Okay, so by this experiment they what they did, they just proved this semi-conservative model of replication. And if you see the centrifuge tube, you can observe the DNA bands. Light band represent N14 light DNA band, and this dark band will represent N15 heavy DNA band. Okay, so in this class what we have discussed, different types of DNA, the DNA replication. What are they? Dispersive, conservative and semi-conservative. Of the three models of replication, semi-conservative mode of replication is the most accepted model of replication. And what is dispersive mode of replication? This dispersive mode of replication is nothing but after replication process, the daughter DNA fragments will consist of fragments or pieces of parent DNA and newly synthesized DNA. And whereas this conservative model, it will produce two daughter DNA segments, two daughter molecules, and in each DNA molecule, what will happen? One first DNA molecule will contain two segments from the parent DNA molecule, and the second DNA molecule will contain both the segments from newly synthesized one. Okay. And semi-conservative, here in semi-conservative what will happen? After replication, DNA segment will have one strand from the parent and one strand from the newly synthesized one. Okay, so this is semi-conservative model, and this is proved by scientist Michelson and Stahl in the year 1958 with their experiment on E. coli bacteria with radioisotopes N15 and N14. They have grown this E. coli in media containing N15, and this is the finally F0 generation is produced from taken, and this is grown in the N15 bacterial media, and later it is transferred to N14 medium, and after the will form F1 generation. Again F1 generation is again grown in F14 generation, and we'll get F2 generation. Finally, by observing the DNA strands, this semi-conservative model of DNA replication is accepted by everybody. Okay, this is the topic, types of replication models and experimental proof for semi-conservative model. In the next class, we'll discuss about the enzymes which are responsible for the replication, which will be followed by the replication mechanism. Okay, please keep the material provided for you with you while listening to the class, and if you have any doubts, please contact me. And also please verify the old classes once again, and keep on revising all topics. Thank you, students.